Very good. We have a group activity at this point.
Yes.
Jill?
Yeah, I really wanted to get everybody's thoughts on this. This is kind of the document that we kind of start with when we do our work as a coalition. We have to assess the community. It's the strategic prevention framework starts with the letter A, and it's assessment. And we should visit this thing every year to see how things change. So I wanted to get you guys' feedback on this. This is our current, what you're seeing is our current community assessment. I want your opinion, your thoughts, your feedback. Tell me, are we on the right track? Is there anything that needs to be changed, modified, deleted? And for those of you that don't feel comfortable reading it, I'll read it for you. Elgin, Illinois is located approximately 35 miles west of Chicago, connected to a city by a commuter train line and the major Interstate 90. A small portion of Elgin residents are home to Cook County, with the majority of our residents encompassing King County. We're home to approximately 112,000 residents from a variety of cultural backgrounds. Per the last census, which is the 2010 census, persons under 18 represent about 29% of the population. 44% of Elgin residents are Hispanic, 9% Laotian, 7% African American, and the rest 60% Caucasian. 26% of our residents are foreign born. The average household income is about $60,000, and over 14% of our population lives in poverty. Only 24% of persons aged 25 or older hold a bachelor's degree or higher. Thoughts? Is this right? Is it wrong? Does it feel, do you want to add anything? What are you guys' thoughts?
Is this accurate to now? You said 2010 with all the stats as well?
The census, when it refers to the census information, that's the 2010 census. The 2020 numbers haven't come out quite yet, but I'm sure they'll change.
Okay.
So then as soon as those are released, do we just update this community description with the aforementioned agency? Is there any other information besides solely, demographic percentages?
Well, I got this highlighted for your thoughts on the highlight portion because I'm ready to go to the next one. Any other thoughts on the highlighted? Because there is more, Jack.
Oh, yeah, great.
Bill, what is the purpose of only 24% of the persons aged 25 or older hold a bachelor's degree or higher? So, I mean, what's the point behind that?
I think the point was we as we target our messaging and we market our messaging, we have to have a better understanding whether this is a community with a lot of PhDs and professionals and what have you, or whether it's more of a working class kind of community. And I think that might go to kind of how you write the messages and the posts and the brochures and all that kind of stuff. I think that's really what it is. It's up to the coalition if they want to include this portion or not. If you guys think maybe we should remove it, I have no problem with it. If you think it's helpful, then we leave. What are you guys' thoughts? Or what was your thoughts, Bob? Do you think we should remove? Or?
Well, your answer was well stated. My first impression when I read it was, we're kind of speaking. It comes across to me as we're kind of limiting. I don't take it as a defense, but I wonder if people would take it as a defense.
Is it the word only? Is it the word only? I wonder if
I was going to say that only. Right? Yeah, just kind of. I know it's not. I notice it's not what it's saying, but come across as
judgmental.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear you. Okay.
And that's just my thought. So don't change or whatever just on my. I mean, just.
I agree. I think Jenny agrees. Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing. Actually, it's interesting.
Okay. All right. Cool. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. So the next one is community of place. This is defined as a group of people. I'm sorry, I highlighted too much. Define a group of people sharing a common geography that exists within Elgin, coincide with the Fox River. The river runs through the city, dividing the community into east versus west. The geographical division also contributes to a perceived ranking among neighborhoods, depending on whether they whether or not they fall on the east or west side. Our two main townships also create communities of place. Hanover Township and Elgin Township fund various social services and community projects for those living within their township boundaries. This is under the heading communities of place. Good, bad thoughts? Anything we should delete, add, modify? And I know there's some, when I worked for the city of Elgin, the city formerly was trying to get away from a east-west division with the river kind of dividing the city, mostly because they felt division was something negative or whatever. There's some that argue that Randall Road is our current divider between 60124 and the 2 3s and the and the 2 zeros. What are you guys' thoughts? I mean, do we keep this the way it's phrased? Should we update it? Should we change it?
I was wondering, you kind of mentioned it, but like with the Randall Road and like how kind of more rural it is out that way on the west side. I mean, I like this. I think you should leave this, but I wonder if you should add in that there's huge community development out by Randall Road so that isn't there newer developments out there and
Oh, yeah.
everything? So, I mean, that just kind of, I don't know how to phrase that, but.
Well, the fact that you brought it up, Gil, I think it needs to be in there because what you're trying to do is identify like what is happening in the community that then informs how we make a difference in the community, right? I mean, that's why you're talking about communities of place. You're looking at the different divisions and how does that affect what we do?
Yeah, I mean, everything affects what we do, but it always starts with our community. So as we sit around and talk about, how to address underage drinking or what have you, if we don't have a solid assessment of our community, then we've definitely put the cart before the horse. Because this is the very first thing is the assessment. And so that's why, I can guarantee you, I will share you guys with as the 2020 census numbers come out, we'll update that. But this is something because communities do evolve and they do change. So I'm getting your guys' input because frankly, I can't remember the last time we asked for your input on this. This is just kind of a living document. And this assessment is not only helps us, but if it's good, if we all agree on this and get a consensus on it, this is a document, honestly, that we could literally give to anybody that's interested in, say, coming to Elgin. What's Elgin about? This is a great summary and gives them hopefully a really good idea of what kind of community Elgin is. So thank you for that. The next is the communities of interest. It's defined as a group of people sharing a common interest. There are plentiful in our large community. With over 100 churches within our city limits, the faith community is a significant stakeholder. Soccer is a common sport amongst our students, so there are several private clubs in addition to the school teams. Elgin is home to many historical districts overseen by neighborhood associations and homeowners who take great care to preserve our neighborhoods. Anything in there that we should add, delete, modify?
Gil,
I have
oh, go ahead.
Oh.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I have a question about the faith communities listed with the churches. Because when I hear faith community, I think like different types of faiths. So that would include like temples or mosques so I don't know if maybe with the churches it would say Christian community and with faith community, do you know what I mean? Just like
Would like places of worship cover mosques
Sure.
and synagogues?
Yeah.
Everybody, everybody kind of have a agreement, a disagreement?
I agree with that. Gil, I know we don't have over 100, but that would include mosques, temples, and everything. But
Yeah.
But
What number would you feel comfortable with? Because I don't know where they got the 100. This was given to me. I mean, you had to ballpark it.
I would, I'd say probably about 80 places of worship. We have lost for various reasons, particularly churches.
Okay.
That people have moved on, they closed down. We do have some new ones coming in. I just talked with someone this morning, but yeah, I know that 100 has been something that people have used a lot.
Okay.
And I just think if we're, you know, if CC's trying to do this right, I would say more about 80.
Thank you. And we are trying to do it right. And as a member of the faith community,
Yeah.
we certainly appreciate your input.
Yeah.
Anything else here? One thing that struck me kind of weird was soccer's a common sport among our students. Gosh, there's a lot of sports that are common. uh, do we keep that? What do you guys, do we take it out? Do we say football?
Yeah, so Gil, I think, you know, if to your point of accuracy, right, community is an interest, right? So we would want to, like when you say places of worship, does it, you know, the magnitude of just places globally, maybe that informs how we do things, but does like, okay, of those 80, here's the types, does that change how we address things? Or like to your point of soccer, like, is there some type of data that U46 or Tina can get a hold of that you really see like the student body as a whole is active in sports by this percentage versus, you know, a different percentage, you know, because then how does that inform us? Well, if we're doing a youth event, does it make sense to have it sport oriented, or does it make it more sense to be like video game oriented? Is that kind of like why we have these communities of interest?
Good point. Good point. I think, you know, for me, what I'm hoping to do here with you guys is to try to solicit more anecdotal, your perception, your feeling on it, because obviously I'm going to go back into the degree that we can find quantitative data that'll support it. That's the ultimate. That's what, if we can support that, be great. It just seemed to me like soccer. I go, wow, what else is it's not just soccer. I mean, basketball's popular here. All the high schools have football. You know, so there's a lot of sports, and I was just wondering why soccer particularly. But you're absolutely right in terms of under that heading, communities of interest. So do we keep it in there, guys? I mean, move on, think about it.
Gil, can I add one thing, Gil?
Fire away, Bernie.
It seems like the city in the last 10 or so years has made a big move on the arts and culture too. And that doesn't sound like it's mentioned, but if you're trying to tell somebody what is the city of Elgin about, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of youth athletics. There's a lot of, you know, we have the art lofts. We have a lot of local artists. They passed an ordinance that they can have street performers. You know, I think that, I don't know, I mean, that might be something to add.
No, you're absolutely right, Bernie. I mean, clearly our community has changed in terms of art in the last maybe the last decade, 5 years for sure. So yeah, that perfect. Thank you. That's awesome. That's exactly what I needed. Any other thoughts before we go to the communities?
I would, in regards to soccer, Jared can back me up if I'm not thinking right. But with the kids that we work with, I would say like 95% of them play soccer. Not always in school, but they are involved in some sort of team. And so I think, I mean, if you drive, yeah, I would keep that. I mean, you could add something about sports in general, but I don't know if you're going to find data because they don't all play on the school soccer teams.
Yeah, that's true.
But I mean, if you drive around on a weekend during soccer season, those fields are packed, or indoor season, they're packed.
And I totally agree with you. I mean, sometimes I can't even find parking.
Yeah.
But I think the data, if we were to look at data for sports, it'd be great to get like school data and then data maybe from Parks and Recreation in terms of what's popular of their classes and all that.
I wonder if you could ask like Illinois Soccer Association too, how many clubs they have registered in Elgin or something. I don't know what the proper name is. I just know that they have us.
Associations. Okay, cool. Awesome. Thank you. All right.
Gil, regarding the arts, I'm in agreement that you should add that. We have ECC, they do plays all the time. We have artists that actually come in and a lot of performances in local areas, flea markets.
I agree. I totally agree. Thank you. Thank you. Communities of experience, which is our last one. It's defined as a group of people sharing a life experience. Now, Elgin encompasses a large cultural and lifestyle populations. 26% of Elgin's residents were foreign-born, the majority having immigrated from Mexico and Laos. Many Mexican immigrant parents work in factories or work second or third shift, but we also have minority business owners. A couple organizations exist specifically to bring information and services to minority residents. We also have 2 large colleges, one 2-year and one 4-year, which contributed to communities of both students of both traditional and non-traditional. On the community experience, is there anything here that we missed that we should maybe remove, tweak? What are your thoughts?
Another thing that I would add to that is our private schools. So you have Elgin Academy, you have, you know, the Christian Academy, you have, you know, I'm not exactly sure what it is, but I know that the synagogue does something, and you have St. Joe's, St. Mary's, St. Ed's.
Yep. You're absolutely right. Yep. Good to know.
Yeah,
We got a lot of them. We got Westminster, Harvest, St. John's Lutheran. I mean, yeah, we got a lot of private schools.
You also have National Louis University, and we have
that's
Columbia
good.
Missouri University. They're all located in Elgin as well.
That's right. Where were those 2 again? National Louis.
Louis University. They're off of Tollgate Road.
Right. And what was the other one?
Columbia University of Missouri. They are located in the ECC building, and they also have a campus in Crystal Lake.
Okay, awesome. Good to know. Good to know. With all those schools and universities, maybe we can uptake our bachelor degrees around here. Awesome. Now, the document, and we're done with today's activity, but it talks about community needs. The other is community resources. This is definitely one that needs to be updated. Some of the gaps that this coalition has identified in resources. Again, this is going to require a discussion with all of us, because this is why we have a coalition. You guys know way more than I do. And then we're going to talk about the community history. And I know there's stuff missing in here, because I think the last time this was updated was January 2014. So it's been a while. Probably should get that updated. The other section is the problem goal statements. Okay. This probably won't change as much, but the stats probably will. And that's it. So once we have this community assessment, we as a coalition can publish this document and make it available to new businesses that come into Elgin, new agencies that form as nonprofits, offer it as a resource to the city of Elgin to have on a rack or something, maybe a 1-sheeter to get people. So that, it's more than just help for us. I think it really helps the community. So that's the end of activities. Any other comments overall? If you guys, anybody want this document to look it over, please let me know, give that to you. Any thoughts?
Gil, it may be good for us all to have a copy of that document with some type of we've done a certain amount today, but if we're more informed of the areas that we're tackling next month, maybe someone's like, hey, my expertise is in this area, or it's in my realm of what I do, in work, that I'm informed of this part of the community assessment, because then as a coalition, those that have that information more at their fingertips and have evaluated it, then it'll be a more, a better product for the community.
Awesome. Agreed. Thank you, Jack. And thank you, everyone. I really appreciate your input. You don't know how long I've wanted to get your input on this, but our meetings sometimes just get a little cramped with stuff. And I think this is important. This is important, especially as we're coming up on our new year. So thank you. I'll send that to everybody, and we can discuss the rest later.